Hello and welcome to this channel, everybody. This is the Eradicator, and in this video we are going to talk about Star Wars Jedi Order, Fallen Jedi Order. Sorry about this. Still, the name sounds a little bit weird, but that's okay, because yes, for those of you who follow this channel, you know that I have pre-ordered this game, and that was I don't know, my excitement kind of grow over time as I saw, well, the game seems to be doing better as we got some previews, and all the previews started to get better and better and better. And there's, it's a canon story, and it's a single player game, and there's gonna be no microtransaction, that kind of that old school feeling, right, of the game. So what I was thinking, well, maybe I'm going to give this game a chance, and I bought the game. I decided to play the game, and I love it. I'm gonna tell you why.
You all right?
So the first thing that I want to say about the game is that it definitely it looks like Star Wars. It is definitely a Star Wars game. We get that Star Wars feel to it, kind of a nitty gritty. It doesn't, we're starting on a junk planet, and there's that prologue that kind of teaches you the game mechanics at the beginning, which is normal. That's pretty much the same in every single in most games, especially single player games. You got to learn how things work, right? So that's what the beginning is like. Get to get to be introduced to lightsaber combat. You get to be introduced to running, jumping, climbing, force a little bit. And it also tells you the setting. So the game is based 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. The Inquisitorium here, so the Emperor has set up some Inquisitors that are here, and they're tracking every single survivors of the Jedi Order, or maybe Force sensitives that are not siding with the Empire. So, of course, being a former Jedi Padawan, you're one of those people who somehow survived the Jedi Purge, and you can definitely feel that pressure. You can definitely feel that you are a tracked man, and that is going to have to work his way around the universe in order to simply survive. And the game escalates quickly. The prologue ends quickly, unfortunately. I think that it ended a little bit too quickly. I was hoping that we would have seen a little bit more of the life of Cal. I think that's his name, right? Of Cal, as he was hiding from the Empire. We get discovered a little bit too quickly, in my opinion, and then there's the crew in that ship from another Jedi survivor who is also seeking to get revenge. Not really revenge, but to fight back the Emperor and his evil empire. I think that this part here seemed a little bit too cheesy and a little bit too rushed. That's just my opinion at the beginning. But again, this wouldn't be the first time that this happened in Star Wars, and we've seen that in movies as well. So I guess that's kind of okay. But then let's just talk about the gameplay itself. The gameplay feels quite intuitive. It was not so hard to find the different keys for the different actions that the character has to take. Now, just for you guys to know, I'm using a mouse and keyboard. The devs actually do recommend to use a game controller. I don't have a game controller, but with mouse and keyboard, you are just fine. It's just a little bit less intuitive that what you would do with a game controller, because those games are traditionally played on consoles and on game controllers. But it's still absolutely feasible with mouse and keyboard. You get this pretty much the same types of actions that you find in the other games: sprint, run. In some sequences, the character Cal doesn't really run, but has to walk, like when you are searching for something, or if you are in a quiet environment, like maybe a bar, or your own starship, or actually the starship that is your safe house, I would say. Then there are also the different actions regarding jumps, climbing. There is a particular planet that acts as a tutorial for the rest of the game, which is a pretty long puzzle. It's not easy to actually figure things out, but there's again, the devs give you some tools, such as, for example, a map that tells you where to go, that tells you exactly where you are, and gives you good indications as of which place would be better to go than others. You can also save your progress on various points. So these are places where the character Cal needs to meditate, which I find that quite original, but at the same time it makes sense because he is a Jedi. Now, fun part: when you use that save point, the enemies that you slain do come back. The enemies that you damaged get back with full energy and full health. So that is something that you need to take under consideration. If you beat a difficult enemy, if you go back to where you beat that difficult enemy will be back. So I guess that this is a way for the devs to encourage people not to use quick saves all too often and to continue progressing towards the game. I found that a little bit compelling, but at the same time, it did encourage me to move forward. It did encourage me to take a little bit of risks, which is something that you will not necessarily be tempted to do in a single player game. In a single player game, sometimes there are players who like to do one step save, one step save. Now, this is not really how this game works, and I think that this is quite fresh compared to everything that I have been experiencing in the past. That this is my first single player game in a long time. Well, I did play Kingdom Come Deliverance though, so yeah, I guess that's my first single player game since Kingdom Come Deliverance, which itself was my first single player game since a very long time. So I don't play a lot of single player games, but this is definitely so far an experience that I would like to continue. I am very excited for my next gameplay session with Jedi Fallen Order. Whoa, it's like a secret cave or something. The vault. Anywhere else I can go? Technically speaking, the game is running very fine. Now, of course, I'm running this on a pretty high-end PC. I've got an RTX 2070. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. I've got an i7 9th generation 9750. That's a lot of GPU there. So everything is running in the maximum settings. But I haven't encountered any technical difficulties, any technical issues. No crashes to games to desktop. Very few graphical glitches. Like sometimes when you wear the poncho, the lightsaber hilt will go through it, but that's about it. Everything else was pretty polished, actually. Very surprised for a day one release, especially this is an game. We know an EA game. We know that with this company, they usually tend to rush releases and then fix them after. But so far, it doesn't feel like the game was rushed. It feels like the game was really well polished, was ready for release, and that is also something that is excellent to see. So these are my first impressions. I didn't play too much. I just played for about 3 hours, but I cannot wait to get my hands on the game again when I have time. That is, of course, I don't have so much time between Star Citizen and Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, and this I really don't have a lot of time to play. Plus my work, of course, on the on the side. So overall, with these very first impressions here, I'm going to give a very generous 8 out of 10. I'm going to make a much more detailed review when I will have probably after I finish the story. So make sure to stay tuned to the channel to have my final opinion on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But so far, so good. Very promising. I am very happy, and I highly recommend the game to anybody who is interested in it. And that's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you appreciate this very quick review about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This is the Eradicator. I am signing out.
Just asking because I was thinking of maybe making some food. Look, before we do anything, I need to know something. How come you're no longer a Jedi?
I had an experience that changed my perspective